Welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Brandon here with Colton, and today we are doing gameplay for our Overlord deck that we previewed earlier this week on the channel. And Colton, what are we playing up against?
I am on Choice Pants Hololive. Not EN Tribal, but playing the Kali level 1 into the Gura level 3. I like this deck. I think it's kind of underrated. I think a lot of people are on the standby list, which is good, but I think this is maybe more consistent and has better damage push in the mid game. So I like it.
Fair. So with the Overlord deck, if you missed that video earlier this week, essentially what this deck is trying to do is it's trying to get the level 3 combo in at 2. It's trying to essentially get a bunch of markers from waiting room to blow up your opponent's board, put the markers in memory, and then turn around and use those markers in memory to get additional burn ones at the beginning of Encore step. So it's effectively a 2-turn process to make that happen. But once the events are in memory, basically every turn you have access to burn ones with a pay 1, pitch 1. So, with that in mind, to get to that point, we run the Shaltir level 1 combo as well as the Shaltir back row package. Both trying to just generate as many resources as possible, trying to save as many resources as possible, so that way when Ions comes down at 2, we're able to use those resources most efficiently to get all those pieces into play. We're asking a lot of the deck, but at the same time, the deck has a lot to offer. So at this point, I do not have the level 1 combo on stage, but I slammed the climax to try to keep that damage consistent here. Plus, I also know that the 0 Ions is going to be able to come back to hand, and I can grab the climax swap with it. So I have 2 more playables. The climax swap on play mills 3. So that way when I get a little bit closer to that end of my deck, I want to hit level 2 before my deck refreshes here. So being able to try to slow down the mill here until I hit 2 and then increase that mill to be able to get all of the events, or as many events as possible, into waiting room is kind of the idea here.
And on my side of the table, I see Overlord, and I know Overlord clocks itself very aggressively. It doesn't have a good refresh point because it is trying to, get all those events in waiting room and then bring them out under the Ions while at level 2. So for me, that plays into what I want to do anyway. I want to push damage. I'm slamming a CX every turn that I can. Going to try to swing for, 2, 3, 3, swings for 2 and 3, 4 into open lanes in this case. I am comfortable with that because that's what my deck wants to do anyway. Basically, I'm trying to rush Overlord way past where it wants to be and into lethal range for Gura while staying out of lethal range for Ainz. And I know that Overlord takes a couple of turns to get itself set up. So if I can kind of bully it into the middle of 2 here, it'll heal down a bit. But then my next turn, if I can send it into 3 and I'm still at, 2-1, 2-2, Overlord's going to have a hard time closing from that far out, and then all I have to do is double Gura for the aim. That's the game plan anyway. I really do like the Kali combo. Like, the selective mill is excellent. You hit your refresh point really well in this deck, which is something that I've struggled with in the standby list. This is just really nice because it does have that controlled mill, selective plussing, and you hit enough triggers, like all your triggers are plussing triggers, and you play, you have a couple different brainstormers. So like hand size usually isn't an issue in like the English focused Hololive list. And of course, just everything has a soul trigger on it. So it's super easy to get your combo off of the Ame level 0 or a choice trigger.
So we've reached level 2. I am 2-4 while you are like 1-3. So that's a bit scary here, but at the same time being able to knowing that I have healers in play, I think really helps here. So to draw 2, ditch 2, I do that off of the 2/1 trying to mill. I'm only able to get 3 markers. I have 1 in stock and 1 in my clock, so I don't have access to all 5 here. But I do heal, so that's important here as well.
Yeah, and for me, I'm looking at this going, okay, this is the turn I really want to get him into 3, because I know that Ainz does heal very effectively, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to heal every turn it slams its combo, so it's going to,
because I hit you into level 2 here, assuming you have the counter in hand, which I do know you is in waiting room here, but I can't. I need my Ainz on field to last another turn, and anti-change counter is the one thing that removes it from field.
And simply having anti-change counter like in your list, if you have it in your set going into this meta, just sleeving a copy of it, and that's all I have in this, is just the 1 copy, but he doesn't know that. So he knows I run it, he knows the set has it, so he has to respect it. And that allows me to stay ahead of Overlord in the damage race. I'm currently at 2-1. I can go with the Ame here to get more stock. I heal down. I decide to go with the combo because I draw into the choice. So it's like, okay, fair enough. Free plussing, free damage push. And I can't get reversed swinging into the Ainz cross turn. So like for me, it's all right. I'll just essentially crash into the Ainz full power. I don't have to play around it at all because it's basically not removable in any context. So I feel pretty good about my chances of 1, pushing you into 3 here, and 2, living when you try to proc your Ainz, especially because you only have 3 of the markers.
I know I had at least 1 cancel in here. So like I knew I was going to eat some damage here too. So I was like, 1 cancel, probably swing for 2 here.
And I'm willing to bet that you're holding up the bar as well on my end. Like it's a pretty good guess. But if I stick a 3 here, then you're at 3, which is where I want you. And of course we get the refresh point to boot, so I'm happy with this. Also my triggers, whenever I trigger Soul, I get to give Ame more power to make sure that I clear the body across from it so that I can get the blind stock. So now I have 6 stock, which is exactly enough for Gura. So I can just hold up a pair of Guras and, that should be enough. You're going to heal down to 3-0 almost certainly here, but I feel pretty confident in my ability to close the game at that point. I am at 2-2 though, so you could try to lock me out and keep me from playing my Guras, because the Guras do only come down at 3. And maybe try to get me closer for the Ainz.
So because I draw into the Ainz here, so I'm able to triple Ainz, I do kind of clock myself twice to get those extra resources. So I can effectively do all burn 3s here, or all the burn 1s from my 3 cards. Notably in this moment, I'm just so excited that I can actually do the combo here that I do not actually bounce your characters like I'm supposed to. Worth noting that.
This was what, the 5th game that we had played of this matchup at this point over the course of the day, trying to record one for the channel, and a lot of them had just gone haywire for various reasons. So this was like the first good gameplay that we actually recorded. So we didn't feel like recording it again.
No, I was tired of playing this matchup.
We had been running this matchup for literally hours. So yeah, no, I'm sorry. This is what the channel gets today.
In part because I wanted to show off what this combo does to a degree. Being able to get the burns there, push you into 3-5 from 2-2.
Yeah,
like that's pretty intense to be able to get all of those things, right? Because it was 5 burn 1s.
Yeah.
Plus 3 swings for 3.
Yeah, because each of the Eins, the Eins that don't send the events to memory also get a Trouble Girl. So, like, yeah, you get to burn for 1 5 times. It's a solid top end. The package is complex for sure, and it definitely is, it makes things difficult, but it is what it is. Like, if you can get there, it's super dangerous. I stick all four with the Gura, which is kind of nice. But the one challenge that I do have with the Gura is that if you're in a position where you don't get all of the burns that you need to just win the game, you have to kill with essentially a vanilla swing, which does not feel great. And yeah, you cancel out with your last CX with 7 clean and deck still. I was able to heal down to 3/4 because Gura. So like the hope here is that you used up all your resources on Eins and that you don't have enough gas to actually close the game. That may be the first time that I've not closed from 3-0 with double Gura in all the games that we've tested.
So I push my characters forward because of my small deck. There's very little I can do here.
Yeah.
Because I could try to, in theory, I could clock myself, draw a card, so that way I could have 3 cards in hand to get the burn ones in play.
But at that point, you can only swing twice.
I can only swing twice, and then I need 3 stock to do 3 attacks. So either way, I'm short either 1 burn or 1 attack because of the deck state where I'm now.
And I might have 5 climaxes in this 6-card deck at this point.
Yeah. So like
that may be a factor here. That's something that happened.
It is. I mean, realistically, that's also a huge thing too, right? Like, because you were 5 out of 6, and I didn't have a way of being able to. I had absolute no way of actually messing with that kind of compression at all.
Yep. And that's the other thing that I like about this choice pants list specifically, is that you have just enough control over your refresh and over your compression that you're not immediately screwed if you trigger twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have enough mill so that, when you blind stock off the Ame, there are plenty of games where I have blind stalked off the Ame knowing my deck was clean. So like I can keep more control because I have the mill speed, right? And I can get through bad deck states. Like I think that in games like this, where you're going to deal with a bunch of damage coming back, being able to compress down is important enough that it justifies thinking about going with choice pants for the Gura. But in any case, that was Overlord versus Hololive. We will be back on Tuesday with another Clock Talk. We're talking with Carmen from Pittsburgh about Lost format, which is going to be a lot of fun, so look forward to that. Following Thursday, we'll have 5 cards, 5 minutes. The week after that, we'll have a deck tech, ? Or is that the first Clock Talk of BCS?
Let's do a deck tech. Let's do 8 standby Overlord.
Okay, we'll see 8 standby Overlord the following Tuesday, and then gameplay in 2 weeks. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.
We'll see you then.